Yo, what up, what up? So, I think I'm gonna get a new camera. Right now, I shoot with the Panasonic DVX200 and shoots 4K, shoots true 4K, Ultra HD, 120 frames a second in 1080. And my photography camera is the 7D Mark II, which I put on the Ronin. The reason why I want to get rid of all my stuff or slim it down is I have way too much stuff. Like, this camera is great, but it's so big when I put it in my bag and then try to fit my gimbal in my bag. Like, I can't fit it all in like a backpack. I have to carry, I have a big Pelican case. I have like, a lot of stuff, but I'm starting to do more of my own projects, and it's very difficult to, because I want to be able to, use my Ronin, but I can't carry my Ronin and carry this camera without carrying a bunch of stuff. So it's a pain in the ass. Tomorrow I'm going to pick up the Canon C100 Mark II. It was either going to be the Canon C100 Mark II, the C200, or the 1DX Mark II. And the reason why I chose that and Canon is everything about this camera, I love it, except for the color science. I can't, no matter what I do, I can't match the colors with the Canon color. I just can't do it. I've tried everything. I've downloaded scene files. I've even played with the scene files, changing the, color ratios, whatever, the greens, the blues, the yellows, everything. And it's just not as good as Canon. In my opinion, Canon has the best color science out there. I was gonna go with the 1DX Mark II for one reason, because it's just like my DSLR, just like my Canon, my 7D. So it would feel really normal to me. Like I would know how to use it, and it shoots 120 frames a second, and it's 4K. Only downfall that I saw was that the media is CFast, and one, those are very expensive, and two, they fill up really, really fast. So if you're shooting like a 64 card shot like 30 minutes in 4K or something like that, and then if you did like 120 frames a second, you got like 8 minutes. I was just like, damn, like I don't want to have to be having to dump my footage and then like, redo the card or buy a bunch of cards. Like I just don't want to do that. CFast cards are professional cards. They're way better than SD cards. They're literally professional cards, but you're gonna pay a lot of money for them, and you don't want to pay that much money for, a CFast card or whatever. So my second option was the C200 that's coming out in August, and everything's great about that. It's a $7,500 price tag. The XLR cables are in the back, and that's one of the, and that 1DX doesn't have XLR cables. And that's the one thing I thought about for a while. I was like, because I didn't want to have the XLR cables on the handle like the C100 Mark II. And when I do those kind of jobs, client work and interviews and things like that, I would have the handle on it anyways. It's always on a tripod or sitting there, so it's not a big deal. So I really was like, the XLR cables in the back don't really matter. The C200 looks like a great camera. Some good specs on it. They definitely could have made it a little better, but again, that one has 120 frames a second as well. It's, you can shoot raw light. And so, yeah, I was thinking about getting the Ursa Mini 4.6 Pro. And, that's around the same price, seven grand. I don't need all that. I don't shoot in raw. I don't need all that stuff. No, I don't have clients asking me to do that. I don't have people being like, oh, can you shoot raw and then I'll edit it. Like, I don't do that much color correction. Like, so I didn't need something that I was really, I've been looking into that camera for a while. I was looking at the 4.6K, and then when they came out with the Pro with the ND filters, I was like, that's gonna be my next camera. And then I really thought about it and was just like, what do I need? What do I use it for? Like, I don't need all those extra things. The other thing with that is it's really big. Not really big, but it's bigger than a C100 Mark II or the 1DX. And then you gotta kind of build it up. So I didn't want to have, get rid of this camera to just get another one just as big and pile on the stuff. I want to be able to fit everything in one bag, hopefully. So that's why I didn't decide to get the Ursa Mini. The other good thing about the 1DX Mark II is it also does photos. That's another huge thing. I did a lot of photos. That's why I bought the 7D, and then I bought the 7D Mark II. And the 7D Mark II has 10 frames a second for your shutter burst. And this 1DX Mark II has 14. So I was really like damn, I could use this camera for photos and for video. But then I thought about it and I was like, I'm just gonna get the C100 Mark II. It's $3,500, and I'll have my Canon, my 7D Mark II as a backup camera and for photos if I need to take photos. If I bought the 1DX, I would get rid of both of these cameras and wouldn't have a backup. Just in case something happens, I have the 7D Mark II. The Canon C100 Mark II, I think will be perfect. It doesn't shoot 4K. It's a 4K sensor, but it downgrades it to 1080 in camera. So you're still getting a sharper image in 1080. The good thing about that is my file sizes aren't going to be big. I can still use SD cards, and I'm just saving a lot of space. I don't have to buy as many hard drives, things like that. At the end of the day, I don't have people asking me, can you export that in 4K for me? You know what I mean? Not too many people, like, you know, it's starting to come around as people are starting to get 4K TVs and things like that, but it's not a big deal yet. Shooting in 4K and downgrading to 1080 is great. Shooting in 4K in this thing, you can tell the difference between 4K and 1080. 4K is fantastic. But if I shoot in 1080, no one's gonna ask me. You know, like, I think people only ask, clients only ask, like, oh, do you have 4K? Because that's like, you know what I mean, the standard. That's like the, oh, if he doesn't have a 4K camera, he's not professional. So I mean, shooting in 4K, I thought about it and I was just like, you know what? Like, it's not really a big deal. We rented the Canon C100 Mark II for a shoot the other day, and I was blown away by the color and the image that came out of it. I was like, oh my God, this is so much better than my Panasonic. And I just don't know why I can't get this to, and no, I mean, even on forums, on everything, like, people are just having color issues, and I just love Canon color so much more. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna buy the C100 Mark II. And yeah, I think that that's gonna be a better fit for me. Just to go back to Canon, the form factor. I love this. I love how the screen pops out. The 120 frames a second I will miss. Granted, the C100 has the 60p in slow, but it won't have 120. The C200 has the 120, but I just was like, I don't need to spend another $3,000, you know, $4,000 for pretty much just that, like 4K and to shoot 120, but that shoots CFast cards as well, so I'd be shooting with that. So it really, I was just like, you know, what am I using this for? What am I actually going to be doing? Even thinking a little bit down the road, I don't, you know, the C100 Mark II is perfect. It'll last me for a while, and, you know, at the $3,500 price range, it's a lot of money, but for a cinema camera, you know, something along, you know, that's part of Canon's like cinema line, it's not that much. It dropped two grand. It was like $5,500 and it dropped $2,000. But all the cameras now have 4K and all that other stuff. But to me, it's really not a big deal. So yeah, I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow. I'm excited that I can, hopefully everything fits in my bag, you know, the camera, my gimbal, and then I can just cruise and just like go out and just shoot. When I do interviews and things like that, when I work for other people, I have a big Pelican case and I fill all my stuff up in that. Fits my Panasonic, the gimbal, the 7D Mark II, all my audio equipment. So that's good, but I don't, you know, if I'm going to skate or go walk in the woods or go, you know, do a project where I'm just walking around the city all day or something like that, I don't want to be rolling a Pelican case, you know, with me. I want to just, you know, throw in a bag and be out. So I'm hoping that, you know, the C100 Mark II is probably like this big, you know, and you can break it down. You can break the handle down, the side grip down, so it'll fit a lot easier in my bag, especially with the Ronin. This camera, I mean, it's great. I love everything about it. I love the zoom. It's a video camera, so you get smooth zoom, and the autofocus is very good in my opinion. I mean, there's just so much about this camera that I love. I just don't like the color science of it. And there's just nothing that I've done that can do anything about it. and it won't fit on my gimbal. So that's another thing. It's like I need a second camera to fit on my gimbal. So I mean, this camera is really, really good. It's true 4K in 24, UHD in 60, 30, and 24. Then it goes down to 1080. Then you have 120 frames a second, or you can go down to 2 and do time lapses, which is awesome. One good thing that I like is, you know, you won't lose the lens cap. Something small, but something really, really big. We'll see how the Canon C100 Mark II is. I'm excited to get it. I can't wait. But yeah, so I mean, that pretty much wraps it up. And 4K is not really a big deal, so that's why I'm switching. And